Hello, sleepy thinkers, and welcome to Sleepy Science Teller. I am so glad you are here tonight. Take a slow breath in and a gentle breath out. Allow yourself to settle as we drift into the quiet world of science together. Tonight, we will journey into the hidden world of soil. So often it is overlooked, thought of as just dirt beneath our feet. But soil is alive, it is ancient, and it is essential for every breath of air we take. Within its quiet darkness are stories of life, death, and rebirth, a secret universe waiting to be discovered. Before we begin our exploration, I invite you to gently share in the comments where in the world you are listening from and what time it is for you right now. It's always beautiful to see how many places on earth we come together from, and if you feel comforted here, please softly press the like button and subscribe so you can return whenever you like another calm, gentle journey. When most people hear the word soil, they think of dirt, the smudges on shoes, the dust on roads. Something plain, ordinary, even messy, but soil is not dirt. It is alive. It is an ecosystem, a community, a hidden world just beneath your feet. Imagine walking through a quiet garden. You see flowers rising, trees standing tall, birds singing in the branches above. But where does all this life begin? Not in the sky, not in the air, but in the earth below, in the soil. Soil is the thin skin of the earth, a fragile layer, only a few meters deep in most places. And yet, within that layer, nearly all land-based life depends. Let us pause here for a moment and imagine looking at a single handful of soil. It might look simple, brown, soft, but in that one handful, there are more organisms than there are people on the entire planet. Tiny creatures, so small you could never see them with your eyes. Bacteria, fungi, microscopic worms, and even ancient spores. Together, they form a vast and intricate web of life. Soil is not just dust and broken rock. It is a mixture of minerals, organic matter, water, and air. And woven into that mixture is life itself. Think of it this way. Soil is the earth's memory. It holds the remains of leaves that fell hundreds of seasons ago, the fragments of ancient roots, the traces of animals who once passed through, layer upon layer of history, gently resting in silence. Without soil, there would be no forests, no crops, no meadows. The food we eat, the oxygen we breathe, even the clothes we wear, all of them begin in soil. When we call it dirt, we forget its magic. But when we pause, breathe, and look closer, we realize soil is a quiet foundation of life. Let me tell you a story. In the Amazon rainforest, where green stretches endlessly, scientists once wondered why the soil seemed poor, almost sandy. And yet above it, the trees were lush, towering, and endlessly alive. The secret lay in a living cycle. The soil itself was fed not by rocks below, but by the forest above. Leaves fell, branches decayed, and in the moist, warm air, they broke down quickly, returning nutrients back to the soil. And from that soil back into the trees. This endless loop, life giving to soil, soil giving back to life, is what makes the Amazon one of the most vibrant places on Earth. Now imagine a different soil, the black, fertile earth of the Nile River Valley. For thousands of years, ancient farmers trusted it. Year after year, the Nile would flood, leaving behind dark soil, rich with minerals, perfect for growing food. The great civilizations of Egypt, their temples, their art, their wisdom, all of it rose from the gifts of soil. And then imagine another place, the frozen tundra of Siberia. Here, the soil is locked in ice called permafrost. But even in this frozen ground, life rests, waiting, seeds trapped for thousands of years. And astonishingly, some of those seeds can still sprout when the ice melts. Soil is not one thing, it is many things, different in every place, shaped by climate, weather, and time, but always it holds the same truth. It is alive, even in deserts where the ground looks dry and lifeless. There are tiny microbes that survive in the grains of sand, waiting for the rare rain. And when it falls, the soil awakens, green plants bloom, and the desert sings with life again. When you walk barefoot on the ground, you are walking on billions of tiny lives, on a vast, invisible universe, supporting everything you see. Let us look even closer into the invisible world within soil. Every grain of sand, every particle of clay carries a story. Soil is made of minerals from rocks that have weathered over millions of years. And into that mineral base falls organic matter, leaves, roots, tiny creatures who have lived and died. This mixture becomes fertile ground. Within the soil, chemical dances happen quietly. Nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium shift and change. Some are locked away in minerals, others freed by microbes. And plants reach down with their roots, drawing these nutrients into themselves. In return, plants release sugars back into the soil, food for the microbes and fungi that live there. This exchange is silent, unseen, yet it sustains forests, crops, and all who depend on them. Scientists sometimes call soil the great recycler. Nothing in nature is wasted. Every fallen leaf, every broken branch, every life that ends becomes soil's gift to new beginnings. And this process is ongoing everywhere, beneath every step we take. But soil is not only chemistry, it is also structure. Imagine a sponge filled with small spaces. Soil, too, is filled with pores, where water rests, where air flows. Without these spaces, roots could not breathe, creatures could not move, and plants could not drink. Even the smell of soil, that soft, earthy scent after rain, comes from life. A special group of microbes called actinomycetes release it. It is a perfume of the earth itself, a reminder that the ground beneath us is not dead, but alive, vibrant, breathing. And so, when we pause to think, we see that soil is far more than dirt. It is a living fabric, woven from minerals, water, air, and life. It is ancient memory, quiet chemistry, and hidden symphony. When you next walk outside, look down for a moment. Beneath your feet lies an entire world, supporting every step you take and every breath of air you draw. When you look at the ground, it seems like one surface, flat, solid, unchanging. But beneath that surface lies a hidden world of layers, each one with its own role, its own quiet character. Scientists call these soil horizons, and together they form what we know as a soil profile. Imagine gently cutting into the earth like a slice of cake. You would see bands of color, texture, and life, from dark, crumbly topsoil to pale, mineral-rich subsoil down a hard, ancient rock. The very top is the horizon. Here rests a litter of life, fallen leaves, twigs, moss, and soft fragment of plants. This is where decay begins, the first step in turning life into nourishment for what comes after. It is not just debris, it is the opening chapter of the soil story. Just beneath lies the horizon, what most people call topsoil. Rich, dark, almost black at times. It is alive with roots, worms, fungi, and countless microbes. This is where seeds sprout, where plants anchor themselves, where food for the world begins. Further down is the B horizon, the subsoil. Here, colors shift to reddish, brown, or yellow tones. Iron, clay, and minerals collect in this layer, washed down slowly by rain. It is denser, harder, less alive, yet vital for storing water and nutrients. Beneath this lies the sea horizon, a layer of weather rock fragments, the foundation from which soils are born. It carries a memory of ancient mountains and stones, slowly breaking apart, feeding the layers above with minerals. And finally, at the deepest depth lies the bedrock, solid, enduring, ancient. Most life never touches it directly, but from it, through time, soil is born. Think of these layers as the chapters of Earth's book. The O horizon tells the story of today. The A horizon holds a present growth. The B horizon carries traces of centuries past. And the C horizon whispers the Earth's beginnings. Each step downward is a journey not only into soil, but into time itself. Each soil layer is like a diary page, written by rain, wind, roots, and time. And no two places on Earth share exactly the same story. In a forest, the O horizon is thick, blanketed with fallen leaves, pine needles, and moss. It is soft to step on, springy beneath your feet, and within it, beetles, fungi, and worms feed silently, creating rich humus. On a prairie, the O horizon is thin, but the A horizon below is deep and dark, built from centuries of tall grasses, their roots reaching meters into ground. When they died, season after season, they enriched the soil, creating black earth so fertile it can grow endless fields of wheat and corn. Now picture a desert. The O horizon is almost absent. The A horizon is pale, dry, dusty. Here, soil struggles to hold water. But even so, hardy shrubs and cacti survive, using every drop the soil can offer. And then there are mountain soils, thin, rocky, shallow. Here, the bedrock is close, the soil profile short. Plants cling tightly, roots gripping stone, finding life in the smallest cracks. One of the most fascinating soils lies in volcanic regions. In Hawaii, for example, fresh lava flows harden into rock, and slowly, over centuries, weathering begins. Tiny cracks form, moss settles, then lichens, then grasses. The rock crumbles into the beginnings of the sea horizon, and layer by layer, a new soil profile is born, life carving itself a home from stone. Layers also record human history. Archaeologists, when they dig, see layers of soil like a timeline, a piece of pottery here, an ancient fire pit there, buried within the A horizon, trapped in the record of soil. The earth remembers every step, every settlement, every moment. Even colors tell stories. A red subsoil may speak of iron, rusting slowly in air. A gray one may whisper of water, sitting heavy and still. And a black topsoil tells of richness, organic matter, and life in abundance. Soil is not silent. It tells us in its layers where it has been and what it can become. Why does soil form in layers at all? The answer lies in patience, in time, in processes that move so slowly we almost never notice. Rain falls, carrying tiny particles of clay, minerals, and nutrients downward. Roots grow, die, and decompose, adding organic matter near the top. Winds bring dust from far away, sprinkling across the surface. Animals dig, tunnel, mix, and churn. And all the while, gravity pulls everything slowly, gently, deeper into the earth. This long dance of movement creates horizons. Each horizon is shaped by what enters and what leaves. The O horizon is always closest to life above. Leaves fall, animals move, microbes feast. The A horizon becomes a blending zone, darkened by humus. The B horizon is a zone of collection, where minerals gather like hidden treasure. The C horizon is raw, half rock, half soil, waiting to be shaped by centuries to come. And so, in every handful of earth, there is order, a quiet, layered structure shaped by time, water, air, and life. For farmers, gardeners, and scientists, understanding these layers is essential. If you plant shallow crops, you depend on the A horizon. If you need deep water storage, you look to the B horizon. And if you wonder where soil comes from, you look to the C horizon and the bedrock below. But for us tonight, resting quietly, these layers remind us of something else. That life, too, like soil, is layered. We carry our present on the surface, but beneath are stories, memories, and foundations that shape us. Soil is not only the ground we walk upon, it is a mirror of time itself. When next you see a riverbank or a freshly dug garden, pause a moment, look closely at the colors, the textures, the bands of earth revealed. You are looking at centuries of history, at horizons shaped by wind, rain, roots, and quiet patience. A secret story, resting quietly beneath your feet. When you walk across a meadow or step into your garden, you may not realize it, but beneath every footprint you leave lies a world as busy and vibrant as a great city. The soil is not empty. It is filled with life, with tunnels, chambers, highways, and hidden passageways. To us, it is silent, but for those who live within it, soil is home. Imagine looking down with invisible eyes. You would see earthworms moving gently through dark corridors, carrying bits of soil in their bodies, leaving behind rich castings that feed plants. You might notice ants building vast underground colonies, their chambers filled with food, eggs, and young, each one connected by passageways that stretch meters through the earth. There are beetles armored and strong, larvae sleeping in hidden pockets, spiders waiting silently in burrows, tiny mites scurrying unseen, and then even smaller lives, creatures so tiny we cannot see them at all. Nematodes, little worms weaving through water films, protozoa gliding in droplets, and billions of bacteria and fungi, each playing a role in this secret underground network. If we could shrink ourselves and walk through this soil city, we would see bustling neighborhoods, root tips reaching downward, branching like trees in the darkness, fungal threads stretching like silken bridges, connecting plant to plant, sharing nutrients, whispering signals. The soil is alive, and every creature, large or microscopic, has a place in this hidden home. What is remarkable is how they all depend on one another. The worms open pathways. The microbes release nutrients. The fungi form vast underground networks. And together, they create the foundation for all life above. Soil is not just a home. It is a community, a living, breathing society beneath our feet. Every home has workers, caretakers, and protectors. The soil is no different. Let us begin with the earthworm, often called a farmer's friend. As it burrows, it loosens the ground, making it easier for roots to spread. It carries leaves into its tunnels, breaking them down, feeding on them, and in return, leaves behind castings, rich in nutrients, like tiny packages of fertilizer. Then come the insects, the ants, beetles, and termites. Ants farm underground fungi, raising them as food. Termites chew dead wood, breaking into soil. Beetles recycle decaying matter, cleaning the surface and carrying it below. In this home, there are also fungi. Their thin threads, called hyphae, stretch like cables, connecting roots of one tree to another, creating what scientists call the wood wide web. Through these threads, trees share sugars, water, even warnings. A mother tree may send nutrients to her seedlings, or a healthy plant may support a weaker neighbor. Bacteria, though invisible, are perhaps the greatest workers of all. They fix nitrogen from the air, turning it into food for plants. They decompose fallen leaves, unlocking hidden nutrients. Some protect roots from disease, like quiet guardians of the underground. Nematodes graze on microbes, keeping populations balanced. Protozoa feed on bacteria, releasing nutrients into the soil. Tiny springtails and mites chew on fungi and fragments, breaking them smaller and smaller. Every creature has a task, a rhythm, a role, and together they keep the soil home in harmony. This underground city is also carefully designed. Tunnels provide air passages. Small pockets hold water like hidden wells. Roots explore every corner, searching, reaching, giving as much as they take. If one group disappears, the whole home suffers. Without worms, soil compacts. Without fungi, plants lose their networks. Without microbes, nutrients remain locked away. This delicate balance is why soil is such a precious home. It is not only where creatures live, it is where life itself is sustained. When we think of homes, we often picture walls and roofs. But the greatest home of all is invisible. Soil is a foundation not just for underground life, but for everything above it. Plants anchor themselves in soil. They send roots downward, searching for water, minerals, and stability. Without this home, they could not stand, could not grow, could not feed us. Every forest, every field, every flower begins with soil. It is the stage upon which the play of life is performed. Even animals who never touch the soil directly depend on it. The grass that cows eat grows in soil. The seeds that birds peck sprout in soil. The trees that shelter monkeys, squirrels, and owls rise from soil. And we, humans, depend on soil for the food we eat, the fibers we wear, the wood we build with. It is remarkable to think that the bread on your table, the rice in your bowl, the fruit in your basket, all began in the quiet, living home beneath your feet. Soil also provides shelter. Foxes, rabbits, snakes, and badgers dig burrows to raise their young. Tortoises hibernate in soil during the cold. Frogs and insects hide there to survive the dry season. To them, soil is safety, protection, refuge. And for humans, soil is history. Our first bricks were made of clay. Our first homes rose from earth. Even today, adobe houses, clay pots, mud walls, all connect us back to soil. So when we think of soil as a home, we must remember it is not only a home for worms and microbes. It is a home for us all. It feeds us, shelters us, heals us. It is where life begins and often where it returns. The next time you rest your hand on the ground, close your eyes for a moment. Feel the quiet heartbeat beneath the soil, a heartbeat shared by billions of lives, all of them calling this hidden world home. Close your eyes for a moment and picture an autumn forest. Leaves, golden and brown, drift silently to the ground. They gather in soft piles, a blanket over the soil. At first, it seems like the end of their story, but really, it is only the beginning of another. For in soil, nothing is wasted. Everything that falls returns, transformed, This gentle process is called nutrient cycling. It is nature's way of taking what has lived and died and turning it into food for new life. It is a hidden engine that keeps ecosystems alive, a quiet, endless recycling system beneath our feet. Imagine the journey of a single leaf. It falls in autumn, rests on the ground, and begins to change. Fungi arrive first, spreading soft threads across it. Bacteria follow, breaking down its fragile tissues. Insects chew its edges. Mites and beetles nibble its veins. Slowly, gently, the leaf becomes smaller and softer, its parts dissolving into the soil, becoming humus, a rich, dark matter filled with nutrients. From there, these nutrients move again. Roots reach downward, sipping what has been released. The nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the very building blocks of life, rise up into stems, leaves, fruits, and seeds. And so, the tree that dropped its leaf may one day absorb those same nutrients again. Life feeding itself in a circle without end. This is the beauty of nutrient cycling. Every death is not an ending, but a gift. Every falling leaf, every broken branch, every creature that returns to the soil becomes the food for tomorrow's growth. It is a cycle older than time, one that quietly sustains every forest, every field, every garden on earth. This cycle does not happen on its own. It is carried out by countless hidden workers, each one playing a part in turning remains into life. Let us begin with the decomposers. Fungi, with their delicate hyphae, are among the first to arrive. They release enzymes, dissolving wood, leaves, and bark, breaking what seems solid into soft fragments. Bacteria then step in, microscopic, invisible, but immensely powerful. They transform nitrogen into forms plants can use. They unlock phosphorus, release potassium. Without them, soil would be a locked chest, its treasures sealed. Earthworms join the process, swallowing soil and organic matter, grinding it inside their bodies, leaving behind casts rich in nutrients, perfectly mixed, ready for roots. Their tunnels aerate the soil, allowing oxygen to flow, water to seep, life to breathe. Insects, too, are workers of the cycle. Beetles drag fragments underground. Termites consume dead wood, turning it to soil. Ants carry pieces of plants to their nests, where fungi help break them down. Even larger animals help. Deer drop leaves from their grazing. Birds scatter seeds. Predators leave remains. All of these eventually return to the soil, feeding the cycle. But the story does not end there. Plants themselves join the cycle too. Through photosynthesis, they capture sunlight, turning it into sugars, which they release through their roots into the soil. These root exudates feed microbes, which in turn release nutrients back to the plant. It is a partnership, a constant exchange between plants, soil, and creatures, each giving, each receiving in balance. This hidden collaboration means that nothing is lost. The fallen leaf, the decayed branch, the passing of one life, all become part of the nourishment for the next. And because of these workers, the cycle continues without end. Now let us step back and see the cycle as a whole. Nutrients move like threads in a web, from soil into plants into animals and back again. Take nitrogen, for example. In the air, it floats freely, but plants cannot use it in that form. Bacteria in the soil and in the roots of legumes transform it, fixing nitrogen into compounds plants can absorb. Those plants feed animals, and when plants and animals die, the nitrogen returns to the soil, where microbes continue to work, making it available once more. Or consider carbon. Plants draw it from the air as carbon dioxide, build themselves with it, feed animals with it. When they fall, when they decay, carbon enters the soil. Some released back to the air, some stored as organic matter, a balance that shapes the climate of our entire planet. Phosphorus and potassium move in similar cycles, flowing through roots, fruits, bones, and soil. Never lost, only changing form, changing place. This cycle touches us too. Every meal we eat, every breath we take, is part of nutrient cycling. The grains that fill our bread, the vegetables on our plate, the fruit in our hand, all grew because soil released its stored nutrients into their roots. And when we, too, one day return to the earth, we will join the cycle, as every being before us has done. It is humbling to realize that in soil, nothing truly ends. Everything transforms, moves onward, feeds what is to come. This cycle also holds wisdom for us. When we waste less, when we compost, when we return organic matter to soil, we join nature's cycle instead of breaking it. When we allow forests to stand, when we care for grasslands, when we protect wetlands, we protect not only habitats, but the great recycling engine of life itself. So the next time you see a fallen leaf or a patch of rich, dark soil, pause for a moment and remember that you are looking at a story older than time, a cycle of giving and receiving that quietly sustains all life on Earth. Soil is not solid, not entirely. Though it may feel firm beneath our steps, it is full of spaces, tiny pores, winding passages, hidden pockets. Within these spaces live something vital, water and air. They are the lifeblood and the breath of soil. Without them, no root could grow, no microbe could thrive, no plant could rise toward the sun. Let us first imagine water. When rain falls, it trickles down through the soil. Some droplets cling to tiny particles, wrapping grains of sand and clay in a shimmering film. Other droplets slip deeper, seeping toward hidden aquifers, stored far below. Plants depend on this delicate balance. If the soil holds too little water, roots dry out. If it holds too much, drowning occurs as air is pushed away. For just as plants drink, they must also breathe, and that brings us to air. Roots are not unlike our lungs. They inhale oxygen, exhale carbon dioxide. This exchange happens silently, deep in the dark, through countless tiny root hairs pressed against the soil's pores. The soil must therefore carry both gifts, moisture to quench and air to breathe. Together, they make soil a living space, not merely dust. Think of a garden after rain. The soil is dark, fragrant, alive. Touch it, and you will feel coolness, water held close. Lift it to your nose, and you breathe the earthy scent of microbes, thriving in the fresh supply of oxygen. This balance between water and air is what allows life to flourish underground. It is a quiet harmony, invisible yet essential, a secret breath beneath our feet. Water and soil does not sit still. It moves, it travels, it follows hidden paths. Some of it runs quickly through sandy ground, draining fast. Some lingers in clay, held tightly, slow to leave. Loam, the gardener's treasure, holds water just right, not too much, not too little. There are three main forms of water in soil. Gravitational water, which drains away quickly after rain. Capillary water, which clings gently to soil particles, available for roots to sip. And hygroscopic water, bound so tightly to soil grains that roots cannot take it in. Plants rely mostly on capillary water, that thin film wrapping the soil grains, always present, always accessible. It is this water that carries dissolved nutrients, flowing into roots, feeding stems, leaves, flowers, and seeds. But water also moves upward. On hot days, it evaporates, rising back toward the air. On cooler days, it seeps deeper, stored for drier times. Soil, in this way, acts as a reservoir, a quiet storehouse for life, releasing water slowly, steadily, to those who need it. Air, too, has its own dance in soil. Every time raindrops fall, they push air out of the pores. But as the soil drains, air returns, flowing downward through cracks and passages. Earthworms help by tunneling, their winding burrows creating airways. So do roots, which when they die, leave behind empty channels. In this way, soil breathes, exhaling carbon dioxide produced by microbes and roots, inhaling fresh oxygen from the world above. This unseen circulation ensures that life continues, quietly and constantly. Without it, the underground would grow still, heavy, lifeless. With it, the soil becomes a breathing, pulsing system, always in motion. We might think of soil as static, but in truth, it is alive with flows. A hidden river of water, a hidden breath of air, moving endlessly, nourishing all it touches. The presence of water and air and soil is not just science, it is balance. Too much water and air is pushed out. Without oxygen, roots suffocate, microbes perish, and the soil turns sour. Too much air and water vanishes, leaving roots thirsty, microbes dormant, and plants wither. Soil must remain in harmony, holding both in measure, allowing each to serve its role. This balance shapes entire landscapes. Wetlands, for instance, are soils saturated with water. Their unique microbes thrive without oxygen, producing methane, shaping the carbon cycle of our planet. Deserts, by contrast, are soils where water is scarce. Life adapts by burrowing deep or by storing moisture within thick roots and leaves. Even agriculture depends on this balance. Farmers learn to manage irrigation, so fields are neither drowned nor parched. They till gently to let air in. They add organic matter, so soil holds water without losing breath. And for us, this balance is personal. Every meal we eat, every grain, every vegetable, every fruit, all came from plants whose roots once reached into a soil that held water and air in just the right amounts. Think also of the way soil connects us to the water cycle of the earth. Rain falls, sinks into the ground, then flows back to rivers, lakes, and oceans. Along the way, it nourishes plants, fills aquifers, quenches fields. The soil is not just a resting place for water. It is a keeper, the mediator, the silent guardian of the earth's water. And air without soil's breath, there would be no balance in the underground, no oxygen for roots, no pathways for microbes, no living humus. It is the soil's way of breathing with us, taking in what we exhale, releasing what we need in return. So, the next time you press your hand to the earth, remember that beneath your palm lies a hidden world of breath and drink. The soil is not still, it is alive, filled with water flowing, air moving, a balance sustaining all life above. It is here, in these unseen currents, that the miracle of soil continues. Beneath every step you take lies an invisible world, a world too small for our eyes, yet larger in number than anything we can imagine. This is the world of microbes. Microbes are tiny, so tiny, millions can rest upon a single grain of soil. They cannot be seen without a microscope. Yet they shape the soil, the plants, the air, even the climate. When you touch the earth in your garden, you are holding galaxies of living beings. Bacteria, fungi, protozoa, archaea, each moving, each eating, each releasing, each building. A single teaspoon of soil may hold billions of them, more living beings than there are people on Earth. They are the invisible majority, the true engineers of soil. Bacteria work tirelessly, breaking down organic matter into nutrients. Fungi send out fine, thread-like hyphae, weaving through the soil like soft roots. Protozoa graze upon bacteria, balancing populations. And archaea, some of the oldest forms of life, endure where others cannot. Together, they form a web, a quiet, unseen network that holds the soil alive. Without them, fallen leaves would not decay. Nutrients would not cycle. Plants could not grow. These silent workers do not seek attention. They simply exist in endless numbers, patiently shaping the hidden world beneath us. Soil without microbes will be nothing more than dust. With them, it becomes life itself. Microbes are not only decomposers, they are partners. Plants, in their quiet wisdom, have learned to call upon them. Consider the roots of a tree. Stretching deep into ground, they release small droplets of sugars, tiny gifts known as root exudates. These exudates are messages, signals, food for microbes. In return, microbes gather around the roots, forming protective communities. Some microbes fix nitrogen, pulling it from the air and converting it into a form the plant can drink. Others unlock minerals, like phosphorus or iron, hidden in the soil. Still others guard the roots from harmful invaders, building a shield of invisible allies. Fungi, too, play a remarkable role. Mycorrhizal fungi form symbiotic bonds with roots, their filaments stretching far beyond what roots alone could reach. Through these fungal threads, nutrients flow, water is shared, even signals of distress can travel from one plant to another. It is as if the soil itself has a hidden internet, built not of wires, but of fungal strands and microbial messengers. This partnership is ancient. For hundreds of millions of years, plants and microbes have lived together, shaping one another, surviving together, thriving together. Even our food depends upon this bond. Every field of grain, every orchard of fruit, every garden of vegetables owes its abundance to microbial allies working silently in the soil. So, when we look at a forest or a field, or even a simple wildflower, we are not just seeing plants. We are seeing a collaboration, a living partnership between roots and microbes, woven into the very fabric of life. Microbes do more than serve plants. They help balance the earth itself. Some microbes break down dead matter, releasing carbon back into the air. Others trap carbon within the soil, locking it away for centuries. In this way, they regulate the Earth's breath, a quiet force in the cycle of climate. There are microbes that purify, breaking down toxins, cleansing polluted soils, healing the damage left by human hands. There are microbes that ferment within the soil, creating the rich, earthy scent we know as petrichor, that gentle fragrance after rain, a perfume of life, carried upward from the smallest beings. And still more microbes live in balance with animals, within burrows, within digestive systems, within us. The soil is their starting place. But their influence stretches across every ecosystem on Earth. Yet, they remain unseen. They do not demand notice or recognition. They are the silent keepers of balance. working in darkness, in silence, in numbers beyond counting. Without microbes, soil would collapse, plants would falter, animals would vanish, and life as we know it could not exist. So, the next time you kneel upon the ground, or hold a handful of soil between your palms, remember that you are not holding Earth alone. You are holding billions of living companions, keepers of the hidden cycles, builders of life itself. They are the unseen heartbeat of the earth, the breath beneath the soil, the endless multitude we cannot see, but upon which all life depends. Soil, though it lies beneath our feet, is deeply connected to the air above. It does not only support roots, it also helps balance the climate of our planet. One of the greatest gifts of soil is its ability to hold carbon. When plants grow, they draw carbon dioxide from the air through their leaves, turning sunlight, water, and carbon into sugars. These sugars flow down into roots, some to feed the plant itself, and some to feed the microbes that gather nearby. When plants die, their leaves and stems fall to ground. Slowly, gently, they are broken down by microbes, by fungi, by earthworms. Some of the carbon is released back into the air, but some becomes part of the soil itself, bound into humus, dark and rich, locked away for decades, even centuries. In this way, soil acts as a quiet storage chest, a vault beneath our feet, holding more carbon than all the world's plants and atmosphere combined. Yet the storage is fragile. When soil is disturbed too deeply, plowed without rest, stripped of cover, left bare to sun and wind, the carbon it holds is released, the vault is opened, and the air is filled with what was once safely hidden. This is why soil is often called the silent carbon keeper. It guards what the air alone cannot hold. It balances, protects, and sustains. Think of a forest floor, soft with layers of leaves, damp with decay, teeming with roots and fungi. Such a place is a powerful sink for carbon, drawing it in, keeping it safe, turning the air's breath into soil's memory. Without soil's quiet work, our climate would drift even faster into imbalance. With it, the earth holds steady, breathing in harmony with the lives it sustains. Soil does not only shape carbon, it also influences water and air, two of the great forces that guide our climate. When rain falls upon healthy soil, the ground absorbs it, drinks it in. The water seeps downward, replenishing aquifers, and moves slowly outward, feeding streams and rivers. This gentle soaking prevents floods and keeps water flowing even in dry seasons. But when soil is bare, eroded, or compacted, it cannot drink. Rain rushes across its surface, carrying soil away, filling rivers too quickly, causing floods, then leaving dryness behind. In this way, the health of soil controls the rhythm of rain. It softens extremes, balances seasons, keeps both drought and flood from ruling the land. Soil also affects the very air around us. Dark, rich soil full of humus absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night, softening temperature swings. Dry, pale soils, by contrast, reflect sunlight back into sky, making the air hotter and the land less forgiving. Even the dust from soils, when carried by winds across deserts and plains, can seed clouds shaping when and where rain will fall. Soil, in its quiet way, dances with water and air. It does not shout, but its influence stretches across skies, shaping clouds, shaping winds, shaping the weather itself. In our time, the balance between soil and climate is delicate. Soils across the world hold vast stores of carbon, but they are under pressure. Deforestation, overfarming, and pollution weaken their grip. The vault is being opened, and carbon is escaping faster than soil can hold it. Yet there is hope. When soil is cared for, when fields are covered with crops through every season, when compost and organic matter are returned to the ground, soil grows stronger, richer, more able to hold carbon. Farmers and gardeners are now learning again what ancient traditions once knew, that healthy soil is the best defense against a changing climate. Practices like no-till farming, cover cropping, and reforestation all help soil breathe properly, drink deeply, and lock away the air's excess carbon. Even in cities, soil plays a role. Parks, gardens, green roofs. Each patch of living earth absorbs rain, cools air, and holds carbon. Each patch softens the heat of asphalt and concrete, bringing balance back, one handful of soil at a time. We may not see it, but every step we take is upon a system, deeply tied to the future of our planet. Every breath we take is influenced by soil's hidden work. The soil is not silent. It whispers in the wind, in the balance of rain, in the warmth of the night, in the breath of our climate. So when we think of climate change, we must also think of soil, for in its health lies our future, and in its care lies our hope. Beneath our feet, the earth is holding its breath, waiting for us to remember that its soil is not just ground. It is the climate's quiet heart. Since the very beginning of our story, humans have lived in close relationship with soil. Long before cities, before roads, before written words, our ancestors pressed their bare feet against the earth, digging with simple tools, planting seeds, and trusting the ground to give life in return. Soil was our first partner. It held the roots of wild grains that early humans gathered. It nurtured fruits and herbs that healed, and it sheltered clay, shaped into the first pots and bricks. In every ancient culture, soil was more than ground, it was sacred. In Mesopotamia, people believed humans were formed from clay, shaped by divine hands. In African traditions, the earth was seen as a mother, nourishing and sheltering. In Native American stories, soil was the body of the earth itself, alive, deserving of care and gratitude. When we kneel to plant a seed, we are repeating a gesture that has echoed through thousands of years. The soil beneath our fingers is the same soil that fed early villages, the same soil that gave rise to wheat in the Middle East, rice in Asia, maize in the Americas. Our civilizations are built upon it. Where soil was rich, cities flourished. Where soil grew tired, civilizations declined. The fall of the Mayans, the struggles of Mesopotamia, the decline of the Roman farmlands, all tied quietly to the soil beneath them. This bond is ancient, personal, unbroken. To touch soil is to touch history itself, to feel the same earth that countless hands before us have held, and countless hands after us will depend upon. Even today, though many live in cities of stone and steel, our lives remain tied to soil. Every meal we eat, every slice of bread, every grain of rice, every potato or bean, all trace their beginnings back to soil. The colors of vegetables, the sweetness of fruit, the richness of grain, all are painted by the nutrients within the earth. When we drink tea or coffee, we are sipping the essence of leaves grown in distant soils. When we wear cotton, it is the soil that raised the fibers. When we rest upon wooden furniture, it is soil that fed the trees that became them. Soil is woven into daily life, invisible, yet present in everything we touch. Culturally, too, soil has shaped us. Farmers bless their fields before planting. Children play in gardens and mud, discovering the joy of earth in their hands. Pilgrims walk barefoot upon holy ground, believing soil itself to be sacred. Even language carries soil's memory. The word humus, meaning soil, is the root of the word human. It reminds us that to be human is to belong to the ground. Gardening remains one of our simplest connections to the earth. In gardens, we kneel, dig gently, plant with care, and wait for life to rise. For many, this act is calming, healing, grounding. Studies even show that microbes in soil release chemicals that can lift mood, helping us feel peaceful, even happy. This connection is not just practical, it is emotional, spiritual. The soil grounds us, reminding us of our place within the living world. In the end, the soil does not only give to us, it also receives us. Every leaf that falls, every animal that perishes, returns to the soil, becoming part of the endless cycle of renewal. Humans, too, return. For thousands of years, we have laid our loved ones into ground, trusting the earth to hold them gently, to transform their bodies into nourishment for new life. In this way, soil is not only the beginning, it is also the keeper of endings. It holds our memories, our stories, our very essence. It receives us with the same tenderness that it once gave to seeds and roots. Modern science now rediscovers this truth as people turn to natural burials, where the body nourishes the earth, where death feeds life, and the cycle continues unbroken. Soil, then, is our constant companion. It feeds us, clothes us, shelters us. It heals us with plants it nourishes, and it comforts us when we return to it in rest. The human story is a soil story. Every chapter, from ancient fields to modern farms, from childhood play to final rest, is written upon the earth. And when we press our hands into soil, we feel not only the grains of sand and clay, but the memory of our ancestors, the weight of civilizations, and the promise of all who will come after. Soil connects us to one another, to the past, to the earth itself. It is the ground beneath us and the bond within us. Soil may feel strong beneath our steps, but in truth it is fragile, a thin skin upon the face of the earth. This skin, so often taken for granted, takes thousands of years to form, yet can be lost in a single season. One of the greatest threats is erosion. When wind blows across bare land, when rain falls upon unprotected soil, the particles are lifted, carried away, swept into rivers, or scattered as dust. Each grain lost is a fragment of history, a tiny piece of the earth's memory, gone perhaps forever. Erosion has shaped civilizations. The Dust Bowl of the 1930s, where storms of dry soil swept across the American plains, left farms barren, families broken, and skies dark with earth. But erosion is not only history. It is present now, in every place where soil is stripped of its cover, where forests are cleared, where fields lie open, the skin of the earth thins, and life is weakened. Pollution, too, seeps into the soil. Chemicals from factories, pesticides and fertilizers from fields, waste from cities, all drip downward into the earth that once held purity. These substances do not vanish. They linger, changing the balance of microbes, poisoning roots, building toxins in the hidden underground. Once fertile soil can become barren, and recovery takes centuries. We may walk upon soil as though it were unshakable, but beneath it is vulnerable, delicate, easily wounded. The soil is alive, but like all life, it must be cared for, or it fades. Much of what threatens soil comes from us, from ways we use or misuse the land. Deforestation strips the earth of its guardians. Without trees and roots to hold it, soil washes away in rain, or dries and drifts in wind. The forest floor, once dark and rich, becomes pale, thin, exhausted. Overfarming pulls too much, too quickly. When crops are planted without pause, when the same field are used again and again without rest, the soil grows weary. Its nutrients vanish, its structure crumbles, and it can no longer support life as it once did. Overgrazing by animals can strip fields of vegetation, leaving the ground bare, inviting erosion and dust, and urbanization. As cities spread, the living ground is covered with concrete and asphalt. The soil, sealed away, can no longer breathe, no longer drink, no longer give life. Even our small actions accumulate. When we waste food, when we overuse chemicals, when we discard carelessly, we place burdens upon the soil. The weight of human hands is heavy, and yet, most of the time, we do not notice. We see soil only when it is gone, when fields fail, when rivers choke with sediment, when the ground no longer answers our needs. The soil does not cry out loudly. It whispers, and in our haste, we have not always listened. The threats to soil are not only local, they ripple outward, touching the balance of the entire earth. When soil is lost, crops fail, and hunger follows. When soil is poisoned, water is tainted, and health declines. When soil is sealed beneath pavement, floods grow stronger, for there is no earth to drink the rain. The soil is warning us. Its fertility is fading in many places. Each year, millions of tons are lost to erosion, millions more to pollution, millions more to exhaustion. Scientists say that fertile topsoil, the dark layer that feeds the world, may vanish in less than a century if we do not change our ways. But the warning is not given in anger. It is given in silence, in the quiet thinning of fields, in the gentle loss of life, in the fading fragrance of earth after rain. And yet, within this warning lies hope, for just as soil is threatened by our hands, it can also be healed by them. Every small choice, every gentle action has the power to protect. The soil does not ask for much. It asks for cover, so the sun does not burn it. It asks for rest, so it may recover its strength. It asks for respect, so it may continue its endless cycle of giving. The threats are real, but so too is our ability to change them. So, as we listen to the soil's quiet warning, we may also listen to its quiet invitation to care, to protect, to give back what we take. The soil is fragile, but not beyond hope. Its story is still being written, and our choices hold the pen. To protect the soil, we must first learn to listen. The soil does not shout. It does not demand, but it offers signs, gentle signals, that tell us what it needs. When crops grow weaker, when water runs murky after rain, when the scent of earth fades from a field, these are whispers of distress. To listen is to slow down, to notice, to pay attention to what lies beneath. Farmers through the ages, long before science, learned to care for soil by watching carefully. They rotated crops, allowing the earth to rest. They spread manure, returning nutrients taken away. They left parts of fields fallow, giving time for recovery. In every culture, there are ancient practices of soil care. Terraces built upon mountainsides in Asia and South America, stone lines laid across fields in Africa. To slow erosion, forest gardens that blended trees with crops, keeping the ground shaded and rich. Today, science echoes these lessons. We know that cover crops, plants grown not to harvest but to protect, can shield the soil from rain and sun. We know that mulching, laying organic matter across the surface, keeps soil cool, retains water, and feeds the life within. We know that reduced tillage, turning the soil less, helps preserve its structure, its microbes, its quiet balance. Listening to the soil means remembering that it is alive, that it is a partner, not a resource to be drained. The first step in protecting soil is care. Simple, steady care. Soil does not exist alone. It is part of a greater web, woven with plants, animals, water, and air. To protect soil, we must work with these forces, not against them. Trees and forests are guardians of the ground. Their roots bind the soil. Their leaves fall and enrich it. Their shade cools it, replanting forests and preventing their loss is among the greatest gifts we can give the earth. Wetlands, too, those marshes and swamps that may seem quiet and still, protect soil by filtering water, trapping sediment, and storing organic matter for centuries. When wetlands are drained, their soil releases carbon, and their protection fades. But when they are preserved, they act as vast reservoirs of health. Agroecology, a way of farming that respects natural cycles, is another path. By planting diverse crops, by integrating animals, by respecting seasons, we mimic the richness of ecosystems, and the soil responds with resilience. Even the smallest creatures help. Earthworms, though unseen, are tireless protectors. Each tunnel they dig aerates the soil. Each bit of leaf they consume returns as rich humus. By working with nature, rather than bending it to our will, we become allies of the soil. And in that alliance, the earth thrives. Protecting soil is not only about science, it is also about love. When a gardener kneels in the earth, hands deep in the cool ground, there is love. When a farmer tends the same land for generations, leaving it better than they found it, there is love. When communities plant trees, restore fields, and care for the land together, there is love. Love is the promise we give the soil, that we will not take more than it can give, that we will return what we borrow, that we will walk gently upon it. And with that promise, the soil can endure for us, for those who come after us, and for all the quiet life it cradles. The soil has given us food, shelter, beauty, and life itself. It has been our foundation since the beginning. Now it asks only this, that we see it, that we care for it, that we protect it. If we do, it will continue its silent work, holding water, feeding roots, and supporting the endless cycle of life. And so, as our journey ends, may we carry this gentle promise with us, to honor the hidden world beneath our feet, to protect the soil, and to let it rest, even as we, too, rest. And now, dear listener, we have walked together through the hidden world of soil, from its quiet depths to its delicate layers, to the life it holds, and the care it needs. May you feel, as you drift into sleep, that the ground beneath you is not just dirt, but a living, breathing companion, a giver of life, a keeper of secrets, a silent friend. May your dreams be soft and fertile, like rich earth after rain. May peace settle over you, as gently as dust upon a quiet field. Good night, dear listener. Good night and goodbye. Rest well, and may the soil cradle your sleep.